As a philosopher, mathematician, and mystic, Pythagoras' ideas laid the foundation for numerous disciplines, from geometry to music, and his legacy continues to impact modern science and philosophy. Pythagoras was born around 570 BCE on the Greek island of Samos, an island known for its vibrant culture and intellectual atmosphere. His early life was marked by an insatiable quest for knowledge. He traveled widely in pursuit of wisdom, visiting centers of learning in Egypt, Babylon, and other parts of the ancient world. During his travels, he is said to have been influenced by the mathematical and philosophical teachings of these cultures. While in Egypt, Pythagoras is believed to have studied under priests, learning about their mathematical and mystical beliefs, and his encounters with Babylonian scholars left an indelible mark on his thinking. Much of Pythagoras' original work was transmitted through his followers and later thinkers, yet his ideas provided a crucial link between ancient mystical traditions and the more systematic scientific approaches that emerged in Greece. His work helped shape the trajectory of Western mathematics, influencing later figures such as Euclid and Archimedes. Pythagoras is best known for the theorem that bears his name, a fundamental principle in geometry. Yet his contributions extend far beyond mathematics. He believed that numbers were not merely abstract symbols, but the very essence of all things. In his view, the entire cosmos could be understood through the language of numbers, ratios, and relationships. This radical idea laid the groundwork for the later development of science and mathematics. One of Pythagoras' most significant contributions was his exploration of the relationship between numbers and musical harmony. He is credited with discovering that the length of a string on a musical instrument determines its pitch, and that the ratios between the lengths of strings produce harmonious sounds. His ideas about music and mathematics had a profound influence on the development of Western music theory. The concept of proportional relationships in sound laid the foundation for the study of acoustics and the construction of musical scales that would dominate Western music for centuries. The implications of his discovery were profound. It provided clear evidence that the structure of beauty in music was not arbitrary, but rooted in the immutable language of numbers. For Pythagoras, this realization was nothing less than a glimpse into the divine order of the cosmos. He famously declared that all is number, meaning that numbers and their relationships were the fundamental principles governing the natural world. In music, these principles were not only audible, but also deeply moving, stirring the soul and providing a bridge between the material and the metaphysical. This concept of harmony extended far beyond musical scales. Pythagoras and his followers began to conceive of the universe as a grand symphony, a cosmic orchestra in which the movements of the planets and stars corresponded to musical intervals, creating what is sometimes referred to as the music of the spheres. Although we may not literally hear this celestial music, the idea that the cosmos operates in a state of harmonic balance has inspired countless thinkers from the Renaissance to the modern era. Upon returning to Croton, now known as Crotone, Italy, Pythagoras founded a religious and philosophical community known as the Pythagorean Brotherhood. This was not merely a philosophical school, but also a religious order with strict rules regarding lifestyle and beliefs. The members believed that numbers were the fundamental reality behind all things, leading to the idea that the universe could be understood through mathematical relationships, with everything in the cosmos possessing a numerical structure. They held that the cosmos was interconnected, governed by mathematical order, which extended to their belief in cosmic harmony. Pythagoras also taught the immortality of the soul, reincarnation, and the purification of the soul through philosophical contemplation, all of which were seen as paths to a higher state of understanding. Membership in the Pythagorean community required strict adherence to a set of rules and ethical principles. Members lived communally, sharing their possessions and supporting one another in their intellectual and spiritual pursuits. They followed a rigorous regimen of study and contemplation, spending hours each day engaged in mathematical calculations, musical practice, and philosophical discussion. The community's collective goal was to attain a higher state of being, a state in which one's life was in perfect harmony with the universal order. One of the most distinctive features of the Pythagorean community was its secretive nature. Much of their knowledge was passed down orally, and members were sworn to secrecy regarding the deeper mysteries of their teachings. This sense of mystery contributed to the aura of mysticism that has surrounded Pythagoras and his followers for centuries. Although the rituals and ceremonies of the Pythagoreans are not well documented, they were evidently designed to purify the soul and prepare it for communion with the divine. Such practices may have included music, dance, and meditation, activities that resonated with their belief in the power of harmony and proportion. The ethical framework of the Pythagorean community emphasized both personal transformation and social cohesion. Members were expected to live virtuous lives characterized by temperance, self-control, and a commitment to truth. They believed that by mastering one's desires and aligning oneself with the eternal laws of mathematics, one could overcome the chaos of the material world and achieve spiritual enlightenment. In many ways, the Pythagorean community anticipated later religious orders with its combination of rigorous discipline, communal living, and the pursuit of transcendent knowledge. The concept of reincarnation, or metempsychosis, was central to Pythagoras' philosophy. He was deeply influenced by the idea of his own soul's immortality and its journey through multiple lifetimes. Pythagoras believed that the soul was eternal and would be reborn into different bodies over time. This concept was not just a philosophical notion, it was a cornerstone of his spiritual practice and worldview. A particularly significant element of his belief was that he had once been the son of Hermes, the god of communication, travel, and divine knowledge. This divine parentage linked his soul to the gods, endowing him with special insight and wisdom beyond the reach of ordinary mortals. Pythagoras' belief in his previous lives did not stop with his divine origin. He claimed that his soul had lived as other famous figures from mythology and history. According to some ancient accounts, he believed he had been a great figure in his past lives, a warrior, a philosopher, or even a teacher of wisdom. He even claimed that in a former life he was none other than the legendary warrior Achilles from the Trojan War, experiencing firsthand the agony and glory of battle. These stories of past lives helped establish Pythagoras' authority as a teacher and spiritual leader. His followers viewed him not only as a sage and mathematician, but also as a soul that had achieved a high level of spiritual enlightenment over multiple lifetimes. His repeated reincarnation suggested that he had learned valuable lessons over time, attaining wisdom through each successive life. For Pythagoras, the continuity of the soul through its various incarnations was essential to his belief in cosmic harmony. The soul's journey was not random, but purposeful, with each life offering opportunities for spiritual purification and enlightenment. He believed that through each successive life, the soul could transcend its imperfections and move closer to divine understanding and wisdom. The notion of past lives was also intimately tied to his teachings about the cyclical nature of existence. He taught that life was an ongoing process of growth, learning, and purification, not just within a single lifetime, but across many. Through philosophical study, ethical living, and self-discipline, the Pythagoreans believed that they could elevate their souls and eventually free themselves from the cycle of reincarnation. This belief in past lives also influenced Pythagoras' ideas on ethics and morality. By viewing each life as part of a longer spiritual journey, he encouraged his followers to live in ways that would help them achieve spiritual advancement and avoid the negative consequences of harmful actions that could hinder their progress in future lives. Pythagoras' teachings on reincarnation had a profound influence on later philosophical and religious thought, particularly in the development of Western esotericism and mysticism. His belief in the soul's immortality and its repeated journey through different forms of life can be seen as an early precursor to later ideas about reincarnation in both Greek philosophy and subsequent religious systems. The Pythagorean belief in metempsychosis resonated with later thinkers, such as Plato, who incorporated aspects of Pythagorean thought into works like The Republic, where he discusses the immortality of the soul and the cycle of rebirth. Similarly, later mystical and esoteric traditions, including Neoplatonism and Hermeticism, continued to draw on Pythagoras' ideas about the soul's journey across many lifetimes. In addition to its philosophical influence, Pythagoras' belief in reincarnation also shaped religious movements that adopted similar views on the immortality of the soul and the transmigration of spirits. In conclusion, Pythagoras' groundbreaking discoveries in mathematics and musical harmony, along with his visionary establishment of a spiritual community, have left an indelible mark on Western thought. His belief in the fundamental interconnection between numbers, the cosmos, and the soul continues to inspire both scientific inquiry and mystical exploration.